And I'm happy about it because it seems to have made so many people happy.
Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham's relationship was a complicated love story, starting in high school and becoming a power couple in Fleetwood Mac. They split in the late 70s. Then, in 2018, Lindsey Buckingham left Fleetwood Mac. What was the reason for that decision? Will they reunite for one last tour? Find out what Lindsey has to say about her relationship with Stevie Nicks. But first, let's take a look back at how their enviable 7-year relationship began. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham's adorable relationship began with a fateful meeting at a Palo Alto high school in the late 1960s. It was there that the musical careers of the two young talents were ignited. They were both hopeful and underachieving. Lindsey, with her outstanding guitar talent, quickly became a prominent name in a local band called Fritz. From the first meeting, Stevie's blonde hair and impressive demeanor attracted Lindsey, and her mature, soulful voice made him feel that she was the perfect fit for his band. On stage, their chemistry was undeniable. Blending their music captivated listeners and made them want to hear more. Although they were friends, they were both engrossed in their personal love affairs and were unaware of the deep bond that was gradually forming between them. In the early 1970s, when the band Fritz broke up, Stevie and Lindsey decided to embark on a new journey. They moved to Los Angeles together, hoping to pursue their musical dreams and leave behind the familiarity of their hometown. However, the move was not smooth sailing, as Lindsey had to put her plans on hold for a year due to mononucleosis. However, this difficult time helped their friendship develop into a deeper love. As she cared for Lindsey and helped her recover, Stevie's kind personality shined through. The foundation for their love connection was laid during this vulnerable phase, which reinforced their closeness. They reached Los Angeles in 1972, brimming with anticipation and optimism. They evolved into the Buckingham Nicks, more than simply friends or musicians. They were partners in all they did. Their self-dedicated first album, bearing their names, showcased their musical abilities and shared vision. However, they quickly learned the hard way about the music industry. Because the album bombed, their record label cut ties with them. They persisted rather than surrendering. Stevie was a waitress, and Lindsey played guitar for other musicians as a session musician. Despite everything, their love for one another became stronger. One of their most beloved songs, Gypsy, was inspired by their bohemian lifestyle, which they followed while living a simple life. Fate was about to step in as they rode the roller coaster of Los Angeles. Drummer Mick Fleetwood of Fleetwood Mac was on the lookout for fresh faces to join his band in 1974. He asked Lindsey to join Buckingham Nicks after hearing his distinctive guitar playing and being immediately pleased. Lindsey, though, would not abandon Stevie. You might have both or neither as a package offer. One of the luckiest things that happened in rock history happened because of this ultimatum. They were to meet with the current members of Fleetwood Mac over dinner to gauge their compatibility. Particularly between Christine McVie and Stevie, there was an instant rapport. Stevie and Lindsey went from being struggling musicians to international celebrities after being invited to join Fleetwood Mac. Even though they hadn't played a note together, the path that Stevie and Lindsey had taken from a love affair in high school to becoming rock stars was about to take a surprising detour. Unbeknownst to them, Fleetwood Mac was poised to alter the course of their lives irrevocably. How did Stevie's and Lindsey's relationship change once she joined Fleetwood Mac? Let's investigate, embracing the opportunity to join Fleetwood Mac, a transformational endeavor. Tension was palpable in the 1974 practice room as Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham faced off against Fleetwood Mac's members. The lighting was gloomy, an event that would change everything for them, catapulting them from struggling artists to legendary rock stars. The air was thick with the aroma of possibility and cigarette smoke, and the room buzzed with anxious excitement. Drummer Mick Fleetwood, who towered above the rest of the band, had stumbled onto Buckingham Nicks's CD entirely by accident. The inventive guitar work of Lindsey enchanted him, and he set out to acquire him alone at first. They were inseparable, according to Lindsey, who was incredibly dedicated to Stevie. They were either both members or neither were. The path of rock music would be irrevocably changed by this choice, which was motivated by love and creative harmony. The room was enchanted as soon as Stevie and Lindsey started playing. Everyone in the room felt shivers as their voices harmonized in perfect harmony. The band's gifted keyboardist Christine McVie had an instant rapport with Stevie. It was as if a long-sought-after puzzle piece had been located and reassembled. Without holding an official audition, the band chose their choice. The intuition was spot on, and there was no denying the obvious brilliance that needed to be acknowledged. This invitation was a lifeline for Lindsay and Stevie. Amid their constant financial struggles, their dreams had been slipping away in Los Angeles. They were about to become famous all of a sudden. As much as it was a professional move, this jump was also quite personal. Already stressed by years of adversity, Stevie and Lindsay's relationship would be further challenged by the bright light of fame. Determination to make their relationship and jobs work led them to move back in together. Unanticipated changes occurred to the band's sound once they started working with Fleetwood Mac on recordings. Stevie's unique voice and mystical lyrics injected new life into the music, while Lindsay's innovative guitar methods and production concepts harmonized perfectly with the band's established sound. The formation of songs like Rhiannon and Landslide foreshadowed future grandeur. They started by performing to smaller audiences when they struck the road. However, when news of the thrilling new lineup spread, their gigs began to attract bigger crowds. As soon as she took the stage, Stevie's ethereal stage presence and long skirts made her the center of attention. Thanks to Lindsay's expert guitar solos and hypnotic performances, her admirers were captivated by her haunting voice. Rising stardom brought rising stardom-related demands. Relationship tensions between Stevie and Lindsay emerged as a result of the band's non-stop touring, the media's incessant coverage, and the allure of rock star life. Their shared aspiration for achievement was now threatening to drive a wedge between them. They continued to work together musically despite their problems. They were one another's creative inspiration as they wrote the tunes that would come to characterize a whole era in the studio. Their music was infused with genuine emotional energy, propelled by the friction between them. After several years of recording, 1975 saw the release of Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album. As a showcase for the band's new sound and its evident synergy, it was a smashing success. Rhiannon and Landslide, among other tracks, propelled Fleetwood Mac to rockstar status. The band's notoriety soared along with the album's popularity. They became entangled in a tornado of raving fans, press interviews, and sold-out shows. Although it was a bittersweet reality, Stevie and Lindsay's dream had come true. All the flaws in their relationship were laid bare by the limelight they had desired. Everyone was exhausted by the end of the next day's brutal tour schedule. As they performed, the days and nights blended into one another, and the seemingly endless cities became a hazy background. Night after night, the crowd was captivated by the irrefutable chemistry between Lindsay and Stevie on stage. In reality, though, their relationship was deteriorating behind the scenes. With the record at the top of the charts, the band was confronted with the formidable challenge of maintaining their popularity. They were overwhelmed by the strain, and their connections became more fractured as a result. The once fairy tale romance between Stevie and Lindsay was now precariously poised. The toll of celebrity started to mount as Fleetwood Mac reached unprecedented heights of success. Their most famous and emotionally intense record to date was born out of the breakdown of personal relationships that were happening behind the scenes. Which track on Rumours does the best job of expressing the band's inner turmoil? Continue to observe: romance in disarray, difficult relationships, and popular music. In 1976, Fleetwood Mac was on the cusp of making their classic album, Rumours. There was a raging storm of emotional and professional upheaval affecting the band behind the scenes, and they were starting to fall apart. The enormous success of their last record had propelled them to prominence, but their relationships were starting to crack under the strain of fame. Once deeply in love and musically connected, Stevie and Lindsay eventually began to grow apart. Their goals, the allure of the rock and roll lifestyle, and the incessant touring schedules were causing a chasm to open up between them. An ironic turn of events befell the band as they began to write Rumours. Even though they were experiencing a complete breakdown in their personal life, they were more creative than ever before. Some of rock's most famous songs were written out of the pain, rage, and disappointment they were feeling at the time. Their separation was so painful that Lindsay wrote the honest, stinging song, Go Your Way, to express her displeasure. Stevie stood a few steps away from him while he performed in the studio, her face betraying a combination of pain and resolve. Anxieties of all, the music they were creating had an indescribable impact. The unsettling nightmares were Stevie's way of expressing her emotions since she was not one to hold back. The weight of their common past was conveyed by her beautiful and tragic voice. Thunder only falls while it's pouring, the song's lyrics reflected their growing independence and the waning of their love. It would become the only #1 hit for Fleetwood Mac in the United States. The remaining members of the band were also caught up in the mayhem. While Christine and John McVie were going through a divorce, Mick Fleetwood was also coping with marital problems. Conflict was brewing in the studio like a stew of emotions, and it seemed like every session was about to explode. They persisted, nonetheless, despite everything. They couldn't let their problems derail the music they were making. They were able to put their feelings of hurt and rage into their job, thereby separating them. A set of songs that were both musically and emotionally stunning, as well as brutally honest, came out of it. The band's complex dynamics were reflected in songs like The Chain, as boundaries between their private life and music grew increasingly porous. They couldn't break free, no matter how much they desired to, for the music had brought them together, despite their differences. For the band, writing Rumors was a release. As a result, individuals were able to share emotions that would have been difficult to articulate in more casual conversations. Originally omitted off the record, Stevie's emotionally charged meditation on her relationship with Lindsay, Silver Springs, would go on to become a fan favorite after some time had passed. Stevie and Lindsay's interactions during the recording were a complex tango of inspiration and tension. They persisted in making musical magic together despite the fact that their personal relationship was in disarray. As artists, they still had great chemistry, and their vocals still harmonized beautifully. During their upheaval, they painstakingly composed each tune for the album, which took over a year to finish. Everyone felt that they had made something very remarkable after they finished working on Rumors. An album crafted from their anguish and sorrow would touch the lives of millions. Rumors became an overnight hit upon its 1977 publication. People all across the globe could relate to the album's heartfelt lyrics and brilliant music. As fans tried to decipher the band's complicated relationships via the lyrics of songs like Dreams, Don't Stop, and Go Your Way, the songs became anthems. The success of Rumors, meanwhile, was a mixed bag for Lindsay and Stevie. They were compelled to perform their split night after night as the record rose in the charts and accolades poured in. With Stevie's rebellious personality and Lindsay's biting lyrics, every performance of Go Your Way became an emotional showdown that fans couldn't get enough of. Rumors cemented Fleetwood Mac's position in rock history, despite the human cost. With over 40 million copies sold globally, the record became one of the best-selling albums of all time. Art could be created from suffering, and order could be restored from disorder. It was a striking illustration of both ideas. Rumors ended Stevie and Lindsay's romance, but began their complicated, lifelong musical collaboration. They kept making music together, and the passion and depth of their performances were enhanced by their common past. As a monument to their collaborative abilities in spite of, or maybe because of, their troubled relationship, the record became an important part of their professional narratives. What happened when Lindsay left? Fleetwood Mac, the big split. Even the famed rock band. Fleetwood Mac had their share of problems and scandals. However, in 2018, the band encountered a dramatic crisis that shocked the music business and its fans alike. The shocking dismissal of Lindsey Buckingham, the band's longtime guitarist and creative force, sent shockwaves across the rock and roll community. Fleetwood Mac was preparing for yet another sold-out North American tour, which was a major milestone in their history. People were so pumped up that tickets were selling like hotcakes. However, a tempest was brewing behind closed doors. Even Buckingham, the guitarist, was caught unawares when the band made the shocking decision to press on without him. The news was like a bolt of lightning. The band's trademark sound had been shaped by Buckingham's distinctive guitar riffs and lyrics since the 1970s, but he was unexpectedly booted from the group he had helped become famous. Fans and industry insiders speculated about the possible causes of his abrupt resignation, as the reasons were first shrouded in secrecy. Buckingham, adamant about not going down without a fight, took a strong stance. He sued his ex-bandmates, claiming they had broken an oral agreement, committed a breach of fiduciary responsibility, and deliberately interfered with his ability to gain financially. Buckingham said he was unjustly left out of the next tour, a profitable enterprise that may cost him millions, and this was the crux of the disagreement. As the court case progressed, Buckingham engaged in more than simply courtroom brawls. He shared his tale with the world. He talked frankly about the band's inner workings in a string of candid interviews that rock fans will love. His statements conveyed a sense of betrayal and anger, stemming from his dismissal and the way his former comrades had dealt with the matter. Buckingham claims that his longtime musical collaborator and ex-lover Stevie Nicks was the one who finally pushed him over the edge and caused him to leave. According to him, Nicks had sent the band a death threat. Embark on her journey or Buckingham will do. This new information shed light on long-simmering conflicts inside Fleetwood Mac and further complicated the band's already complicated relationships. Having said that, the band mostly kept mum, providing only cautiously phrased remarks that kept up an air of professionalism. Their lack of comment has left admirers wondering what the real reasons were for Buckingham's departure. Finally, the legal dispute was resolved by an out-of-court settlement. Still, the band and its fans were left with a gap in Fleetwood Mac due to the emotional impact that persisted. It was impossible to ignore the noticeable lack of Buckingham's signature guitar skills and vocals, even as the band continued to tour with new members. It was the final straw for a lot of people. Stevie Nicks spoke cleanly about her thoughts about Buckingham's exit in September 2021, which was rather unexpected. She came clean about how a scheduling dispute for the tour was at the root of the problems. Buckingham wanted more time to promote his solo work, but Nicks was adamant about keeping to the scheduled dates. Therefore, the request was denied. Nicks claims that her accusation that Buckingham acted disrespectfully during her acceptance speech at Musicare's Person of the Year event was the turning point. The last straw was his reported sneering and condescending gestures. As a result, Nick had to make a tough decision about their working relationship. It was immediately made clear by Nicks that she had not planned the dismissal of Buckingham. She chose to portray her decision as a necessity to escape a poisonous circumstance, highlighting the significance of setting personal boundaries, even in the heated realm of rock celebrities. Her contrasting accounts of Stevie and Lindsay, he claimed, were her main points. Lindsay Buckingham and Stevie Nicks's violent and passionate romance is one of the most famous rock love tales of all time. One unanswered question remains as time goes on. When the sound of the music stops, but the feelings don't, what then? Buckingham said in an interview that he thinks Nicks could still feel something for him, which rekindled interest in their legendary history. This discovery, which was discussed with a mix of longing and intrigue, brought one of the longest-running stories in rock music back into the limelight. The music that chronicled the relationship's ups and downs also worked to maintain it, as Buckingham described in his lyrics. Buckingham revealed an intimate moment from his past with Nicks when their connection endured long after their split. A unique look into the complicated emotional terrain that both artists traversed over their lives was provided by his confession. Buckingham's conjecture on Nicks's possible return fascinatingly enriched their already complex history. The magnum work of Fleetwood Mac and a moving account of the group's internal strife were at the center of Buckingham's reminiscences. He believed that the unusual circumstances of the album's creation may have hindered their capacity to adequately grieve their split. The studio catalyzed their intense emotions, and every song beautifully captured the complex range of sentiments they grappled with. While their professional responsibilities required them to repress their anguish, Buckingham recounted the odd experience of working with Nicks during this time. His theory was that they were unable to find the peace they needed to go on because they repressed their feelings. Nevertheless, he praised their perseverance and said that their music would endure forever despite the pain. Artistic inspiration is both a boon and a bane, as the guitarist's comments show. It was hard for them to completely let go of the past, since the same anguish that drove their creativity also appeared to ensnare them emotionally. There has seldom been such open expression of the perennial rock issue of the inextricable connection between private suffering and public acclaim. Buckingham focused on the divergent life trajectories that each of them pursued following their breakup as he reviewed their common experience. Nicks focused solely on her singing career, while he rekindled his love and built a family. According to Buckingham, this difference might have had a role in how they felt about one other, Lindsay's solo career, and life after Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac has one of the most interesting backstories in the dynamic rock music industry. There have been rumblings about a reunion recently, so maybe something new is going to happen. The former guitar player and brilliant songwriter Lindsey Buckingham, whose abrupt exit in 2018 shocked listeners and the industry, is at the center of these rumors. Tragic events in 2020 paved the way for the prospect of a reunion. Peter Green, the original creator of Fleetwood Mac, has passed away. The band's famed drummer, Mick Fleetwood, broke years of quiet after this tragedy and contacted Buckingham. At a pivotal point in the band's troubled history, this olive branch, offered in common sorrow, appeared to heal a rift that many believed was irreparable. It was the mutual respect for a friend who had died that brought together two rock icons who had been alienated for years due to misconceptions and animosity. Even though it was laden with melancholy, their chat opened the door to a future that many had given up on and hinted at reconciliation. It was a glimpse into a future when long-simmering hurts may start to mend. Fans and insiders alike couldn't resist speculating as word of their rekindled friendship circulated. Is this paving the way for Fleetwood Mac to reunite? The music industry was in a frenzy when the idea of the original lineup performing together again sparked hopes for a farewell tour. Mick Fleetwood himself stoked the flames by dropping hints about a possible farewell tour. The notion of Fleetwood Mac setting out on one final epic journey enchanted fans all across the globe. Many saw it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see a legendary rock band perform at their peak, a once-in-a-generation chance to see music history being made. Even Lindsey Buckingham was receptive to the notion. He has stated in interviews that he is willing to let go of the past to focus on the music they made together. Despite the animosity that had formerly existed between him and Fleetwood Mac, his statements suggested that he was ready to put the past in the past and concentrate on the band's legacy. The path back together, nevertheless, is not without its challenges. A major obstacle is still the intricate web of ties within Fleetwood Mac, especially that which binds Buckingham to Stevie Nicks. Their turbulent courtship, creative collaboration, and subsequent breakup have been a major aspect of the band's narrative for many years. When it comes to overcoming emotional challenges, these are the types of challenges that every reunion must face. During the previous few years, Buckingham and Nicks have not communicated with one another, which has only helped to exacerbate the tensions that have been present. Because of the significant silence that prevails between them, it is clear that they are experiencing a great deal of separation. In order to repair this split, it would be necessary to make amends on both a personal and a professional level. The possibility of Fleetwood Mac getting back together is still quite interesting, despite the challenges that have been presented. It is possible that this presents the members of the band with an opportunity to rediscover the magic that they had previously created together and to reclaim their shared history. This is the final opportunity for fans to experience the exhilarating energy that Fleetwood Mac is known for, and it is like listening to the soundtrack of their life all over again. In the event that a reunion does place, it is feasible that fascinating issues such as the music industry and the relevance of nostalgia would be discussed. Even though some other famous rock bands have lately begun their farewell tours, a return by Fleetwood Mac would be unlike any other musical reunion. A reunification of the band would be a momentous occasion in the annals of rock and roll history, particularly given the turbulent history of the band and Buckingham's sudden departure from the band. Be mindful of the fact that any discussion of a reunion is still in the realm of speculation at this point. Some factors must come together before a full-fledged reunion can take place, but the fact that Fleetwood and Buckingham have reconciled represents a positive development. There are several challenges that need to be overcome, such as resolving past grievances, organizing a large tour, and persuading all of the members of the band to agree to take part in the activity. After the passing of Christine McVie in 2022, these exchanges will become far more difficult to understand. Her departure would be much regretted, both musically and emotionally, by the music community. It would be imperative that any possible tour pay tribute to her life, while yet enabling the band to continue performing. Members of Fleetwood Mac have been keeping busy, even as rumors of a reunion continue to circulate. In what ways have their interesting individual careers shaped their lives apart from the band? Let's investigate. Then where are they? News on the other members of the band. The music continued even after Fleetwood Mac's legendary saga appeared to come to a stop. For its illustrious members, it only paved the way for a golden period of innovation and individual achievement. In their solo work, they display a rich mosaic of artists, free to pursue their own creative goals, unencumbered by the limitations of a band dynamic. Stevie Nicks, a mystic singer whose words and voice have been associated with rock and roll aristocracy, is leading the charge of this solo revolution. Belladonna, Nicks's first solo album, was out in 1981, and it was the beginning of an incredible adventure that would last decades and provide a wealth of musical masterpieces. Nicks's solo albums chart her development as a performer. Her songs, which range from the rousing Edge of 17 to the gentle Leather and Lace, demonstrate her extraordinary storytelling abilities and never fail to enchant listeners. Nicks's early reluctance to seek a solo career is particularly noteworthy. As an example of how creative careers may take surprising turns, she previously stated that she had little interest in pursuing a solo career before 1981. The 2019 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist was Nicks's zenith. It made her the first female to receive this award twice. Nicks, though, hasn't been one to sit on her success. By teaming up with more modern musicians like Miley Cyrus in recent years, she has demonstrated her enduring significance in the music industry while also crossing generations. Even after all these years, her 2021 tour, which included stops at legendary arenas like the Hollywood Bowl, proved that she is still a formidable performer. Even while Nicks was achieving phenomenal success as a solo artist, each member of her band was forging their unique path. Soulful vocalist and keyboardist Christine McVie also went solo, producing 2 albums in 1984 and 2004. Through these pieces, McVie's unique songwriting approach was presented to audiences with a fresh perspective. The fact that she and Lindsey Buckingham worked together on a duets album in 2017 demonstrated that the creative energy among Fleetwood Mac members could thrive outside of the band as well. Christine McVie's tragic tale ended in November 2022. The music industry was rocked by her untimely death at 79 years of age. In a heartfelt tribute at the 2023 Grammy Awards, Mick Fleetwood, Sheryl Crow, and Bonnie Raitt performed her song Songbird, a moving reminder of her enduring legacy in honor of their unique, exceptional, and extraordinarily gifted bandmate. After Fleetwood Mac's peak, John McVie, the rock of the rhythm section, went in a new direction. He overcame personal obstacles in his story. Following a health emergency in 1987, McVie has been sober since then, and his story is an inspiration of perseverance and finding redemption. He adds another depth to his remarkable tale by battling and recovering from colon cancer in 2013. These days, McVie prefers to keep to himself, pursuing his love of sailing and appreciating the slower life. Also, the band's name is graced by the towering presence that is Mick Fleetwood. His many interests and business energy are evident in his life after Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood has proven that there is more than one way to become a rock superstar by recording solo songs and being the face of Harry Styles' brand pleasing. His astute business sense is on full display in his forays into the wine industry and his Maui restaurant, Fleetwood's on the Front Street. No obstacle can break Fleetwood's unwavering determination, not even the horrific Maui wildfires of 2023 that destroyed his restaurant. While each of these paths has been unique, they are bound together by the enduring legacy of Fleetwood Mac. What do you think about the relationship between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham? Was the end of their relationship a shame? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.